Mr. McCarthy of California. He isn't here. We'll go to Mr. Posey of Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Liddy, we wouldn't care anything about the bonuses if it wasn't for the bailout money. You know, if private industry pays people what they're worth and they don't ask our constituents to pay the bill for it, we really don't matter. And you know why we care so much about this. And
I do.
And I'm not still clear how these people earned these retention bonuses in the past or the future. I heard your answers, but I'm not sure that I really understood them. And I would think a big bonus for the people that put us in this position would be that they're not in jail, number one, and number two, that they still have jobs. I can't imagine there's a lot of other employers frothing at the mouth to hire the people that put AIG in that position. I mean, I just can't imagine that the job market is that great for somebody that exhibits such a tremendous ability to fail and screw up a whole country, basically, or help do it. Have you, in your analysis of the way of the way AIG operates now, have you seen any signs of what somebody might normally consider to be criminal activity?
I have not, sir. I would not condone it. I've seen absolutely none. We've had a number of investigative authorities looking at our practices and our books and records, and nothing has come to light that I'm aware of. Could I go back to one other point?
Certainly you may.
It's important to remember at FP, as I said earlier, it really is easy to paint with one brush and color everyone with the same brush. There are people who worked on one piece of FP called credit default swaps. There were people who worked on another area of FP called regulatory capital. There are people who work on the derivatives book, the $1.6 trillion. For the most part, those are separate people. I'm simplifying, but for the most part, they're separate groups of people. It's the credit default swap people that really, and that was a very small number of folks and a very small number of trades. They're the ones that brought our company to our knees. The folks out here in the derivatives book, you know, they're getting tarred and feathered along with everyone else, and they're the ones that we're asking to please, please wind this book of business down orderly, economically, efficiently, so it doesn't cause problems for us. They're the ones that got the retention bonus.
I hear what you're saying. Somebody gave me a button on November 5th that said every now and then an innocent man gets sent to Congress. Mm-hmm. And so we understand that. Is there an obligation on your part, if you see activities that might be considered unethical or perhaps illegal, that you would have a duty to report that? And if so, who would you report it to?
Oh, sure. You know, I would report it first to our general counsel and to our board and audit committee and our partners at the Federal Reserve. Absolutely. We're trying to establish a new AIG, one that is transparent, one that shares information. It's hard to do. That has not been our practice in the past. But that would be reported, and I wouldn't be shy about taking the lead on that.
Well, and what spurs some of these questions is you know, we have good reason to believe, obviously, there's plenty of evidence that, you know, back in the days when Enron was inventing cap and trade or cap and tax, whatever we want to call it, that they were also pulling down some pretty good bonuses based on cooking the books to make it look like they had performed better than they had actually performed. And the question that begs for an answer is whether there was any sign of that here. You know, people will do a lot of things to get $1 million bonus, and obviously it's been demonstrated that's one of the things they would do.
Yes, I would say there are no signs of this here. What we have at AIG is too much appetite for risk, too much appetite for businesses outside of our core competencies, contractual commitments which, when left in place and the market melted down, exposed their weaknesses. So we could and should be roundly criticized for aggressive business practices, but nothing like an Enron or a WorldCom or the things that you just referred to.
Okay. And one final one, Mr. Chairman, if I have time. You know, we understand that 73 people got bonuses that exceeded $1 million, and they're called retention bonuses. And 11 of those people are no longer with the company.
Yes.
why do we even consider giving a retention bonus to somebody who's no longer with the company?
We specifically ask those people on a book of business to wind it down, get it to go away, and get it within certain parameters. If you can do that by the end of October, that's fine. We'll pay you the retention bonus. If it takes you until March to do it, we'll pay you the retention bonus then. Those people achieve the objective. That's how we got the book from $2.7 billion down to 1.6, $2.7 trillion down to 1.6.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have